This is Heather with Treasured Hometown. Today I am going to be showing you how to make these crushed velvet crochet scrunchies. They are a very simple, easy to make little hair tie. For these ones, we'll just need a few simple materials. We want to use first, this is actually a partial that I have. I've made, probably at least like 15 of these scrunchies out of one skein of the Bernat crushed velvet yarn. It is a number 5 weight yarn. It's a bulky weight. You can make it with other yarns too, like here's one. I made the same thing, but this is with just a number 4 acrylic yarn. I definitely don't like it as much. Yeah, it's poofy, but it doesn't have the same effect as these ones. So it is possible, but I actually prefer these. This one is actually color is spruce. So we'll need the yarn. You also are going to need a 5mm crochet hook. You will need a hair tie. This is, I pick them up at just the local store. I get the heavier, thicker ones as opposed to the thinner ones. I just don't like how they feel on my hair, so I go with the thicker ones. I get about 30 of them for $1.75. You also need some scissors and a marker. Now you don't need the fancy ones if all you have is another piece of yarn. You could also use that. It's just to mark your place so we don't get, because this, especially at the beginning row, it works quite tightly, like everything's squished together, so it helps to keep track of our first stitch. That's just all it is. So we have that, and also I usually say you want some yarn darning needles. I prefer to weave in the ends using the darning needle, but I will go ahead and show you how you can actually weave in the ends on these ones without having to go get one of these, especially if you're a beginner. You probably don't have that many supplies, so it's kind of a personal preference. I prefer the darning needles, but all right, now let's get started. To start off, you want to take your yarn and go ahead and make your slip knot. Put it onto your hook. All right, and then we want to attach it to our hair tie. Simply to attach, come in, go underneath the hair tie, pull up a loop, and pull it right through, so it's just a basic stitch knot or slip stitch. Pull the end of your slip knot nice and tight so it's just wrapped around there. Now what we're going to want to do is yarn over and pull through, so you just made a chain 1. Now next thing we want to do is we're going to come through and do 55 single crochets around your hair tie. Now also, to help, and so it's less you gotta weave in later, I tend to take my tail and work it around with the hair tie also, so it's just one less end that I have to move in later. So to crochet around, you come in, go underneath your hair tie or through the center of it, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops to make your single crochet. Now that we're out of our first little chain 1 that we made, go ahead and stick your marker right into that chain 1. This is just so we can keep track of it, because the first row especially, it's going to be really squished together. We don't want to make our stitches tight, but as we're moving along, we're going to have to push them back, so that just keeps a close eye on where it is. So make our second single crochet. Four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now see, we've kind of gone all the way around, but we've only made 12 stitches. Just pull them back so we have more room, and continue on. All right, now we've made our 55 single crochets around our hair tie. Now what we want to do is go ahead into, because of the markers right there, it makes it easy to get into that stitch. Put your hook through there, yarn over, and pull up, but just pull right through your loop, so you just created a slip stitch into that spot. Now, to go forward, what we want to do is chain 3, and then into our first single crochet, we want to yarn over, go through your loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through first 2 loops, yarn over, go through your next 2 loops. So you just created a double crochet. Now you want to go ahead and do another double crochet into that same stitch. And going forward, we want to make sure we get 2 double crochets into every stitch. So your first row had 55 single crochets, so this row should have 110 double crochets. So just continue going around. Now, if you are having issues trying to find your stitches, especially with this second round because the first round was so tight together, just kind of slide your stitches around that elastic band just a little bit, and it opens up so you can see where your stitches are a little bit better. Using the different color, a collection of different shades of color into your yarn does also help just a little bit, especially for beginners, to be able to try and find your stitches, as opposed to a solid color like this one, which is a little bit more difficult trying to find all your stitches inside of it. Alright, now we've came to the end of our second row. So what we want to do is find, here is our first row of chains that we did. So we want to take our hook, find the third chain, and put our hook through the loops of the third chain. And do a slip stitch there. Now from here, what we want to do is go ahead and chain 3, and then in each of our stitches from the last row we want to continue with the same pattern and do 2 double crochets into each stitch. So for this row, our first row had 55 single crochets, and we double crocheted in each stitch for our second row. So that put us at 110 stitches for the second row, and we're double crocheting in each stitch for the third row. So we should have 220 stitches throughout this row. Alright, now that we've done our last stitch, what we want to do is find that third chain of your first chain 3 of the round and go ahead and put a slip stitch to join right into there. Then go ahead and cut your yarn, and then to tie it off, just another little slip stitch right through it, and there it is. Now to weave in the ends without a darning needle, simply go to your next stitch, yarn over and pull the yarn through, and just simply go down your stitches and pull the yarn through. Like I said, I'm not that big of a fan of this method because usually with my darning needles I can loop and back stitch around so it's a more secure hold for the end of the yarn, but this is just, you know, another way that it can in fact possibly be done. Go ahead and get that all nice and weaved in. Because that one's going to be a little too difficult just for that small end. Just trim that off. And go ahead and remove your marker. And voila, you have your little scrunchie. Like I said, very simple, very easy. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to go ahead and hit the like, share it with your friends if you'd like, and also if you'd like to continue getting a free pattern with a video tutorial pattern, be sure to hit subscribe and I will go ahead and be posting one video every week. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.